No prize money, as I've alluded to throughout the broadcast so far in this series. Let's get into the ban phase and see how this map is going to shape out.
As I like to often do in the ban phase, we can have a quick peek back at past results for these teams. MercenarieZ in Open Qualifier number 4 did not play Consulate. In fact, the only time they played it was in the upper bracket final of the closed qual, and they won 7-3 against Kira Esports. In that occasion, they banned out the Buck and the Velk. So I guess we're already seeing a slight deviation there. On the other side, of course, 7th Heaven have played this map previously. Not with great results, though. 4-7 against Guts in of course, the playoffs. 7-3 win over Q confirmed in the regular season, and a 4-7 loss to the hands of Wildcard. So you could argue some mixed results here for 7th Heaven, and it's, like I said, difficult to edge out one team over the other.
Yeah, and look, we've got positives from both teams. We've got negatives as well, if I'm going to be quite frank, from both teams in the two matches we saw. Of course, Clubhouse was the very first match. It was 7-4, much more one-sided affair, and was a map result we probably expected in terms of 7th Heaven. It was the map pick for MercenarieZ, but and then, of course, as we saw just then from Chalet, 8-7 went the distance, and here we are now on Consulate, where you can put both maps sort of in the past and spring anew here. I mean, who knows, guys? We had 7th Heaven dominate map 1, then an even affair. Now we might see MercenarieZ dominate here on Consulate. It's hard to say, as we've sort of alluded to already. MercenarieZ on the attack first, 7th Heaven on the defense. And looks like it's going to be Cafeteria and Garage to kickstart off round number 1.
Now, Basement has been pretty successful for the defense in APAC South, an 89% win rate. In APAC North, it has had a 67% win rate. So you would have to edge out the defenders here, and that, of course, is 7th Heaven. As we so often see, the round typically plays out with the team retaining control outside of Garage and opening up the wall, and then trying their damn hardest to get that plant down. If you manage to stick it, you're more than likely going to win the round, and it's up to the defense to try and deny it from being planted. And that's why, of course, they're bringing the likes of the smoke as a form of plant denial, and a C4, and maybe even the impact grenades as well to aid.
We've already seen Consulate twice today, so I guess there's a little bit to go off there. Guts and 7th Heaven, of course, played it, so at least for 7th Heaven, it's sort of fresh in their mind, and maybe there's some learnings from that game. Like, this is something that can't be underestimated here. You know, they got kind of taught a lesson by Guts on Consulate. You hope that, you know, they can quickly adapt and maybe take a few things from Guts. Also figuring out, okay, this didn't work last time for Guts. It either might work here, or maybe we just shouldn't do it at all if it was that uneventful. For the other match, it was actually Fnatic versus Kira, so obviously for MercenarieZ, their first time playing Consulate today, so you'd have to at least give some sort of a leg up to 7th Heaven.
Let's see how hard MercenarieZ can test them in round number 1, though. A couple of players positioned over towards the east spawn, so they might well try and take control of admin and transfer that in towards a back push down towards Archives. Pika, though, inside of Visa, is harassing this entry and denying at least one drone, and that leaves 8 in the pockets of MercenarieZ as another drone falls elsewhere. Snow, though, he gets the opener. That's Ray taken off the board, and Wamai playing no further part in this round. So those magnets will be limited in supply.
One thing Ray has to be careful of, it's becoming a bit of a habit here. It happened on Chalet, getting picked quite a few times as the opening death, and the very first round in Consulate, it's happened again. Ray's had a bit of a poor series, really, as a whole, so needs to pick up individually, at least, moving forward into Consulate. They're going to need him at his best. So far, it's kind of been the souffle show. Even Spirited went a little quiet on Chalet compared to Clubhouse, where, of course, he you know, exploded, really. Went 12 kills, and 9 of those were on the defense. So this is where you kind of look to Spirited on this smoke on defense for 7th Heaven in this opening half. If he does well, 7th Heaven do well. Yeah,
and you're not even plucking that out of thin air, right? Ray is quite literally performing the worst in this series, opening kills, opening deaths. He's going -4. Maker, the closest, going -2 for MercenarieZ. So not the greatest of statistics, and again, it is only amplified by the fact that you're playing a Wamai, and again, that gadget does regenerate throughout the round. Anyway, enough about that. MercenarieZ still need to convert this round, and ED could pose some issues inside of Piano.
45 seconds left. I said at the very beginning of Clubhouse this was going to be a marathon, and it certainly has. We're kind of, though, towards the last bend coming into Consulate. Oh, Souffle. Talk about being aggressive there. Will get punished, taking a big beating, and falls back as Sib will finish him off. MercenarieZ with a 5-on-3 advantage here to start round 1 of Consulate.
Time again running low here for the attack. 15 seconds left. That's how long the attack needs, or that's how long the defense rather needs to hold out. Oh, that's a great shot from Pika. That's the diffuser down. If he can play time, he needs to hold on for 5 more seconds. But he just can't hold on for long enough. But MercenarieZ, despite the stats, will take round 1.
Good opening round for MercenarieZ, and it really just continues the momentum, right? I mean, this actually is a topic I don't think we've spoken about so far. At least coming into Consulate. It was touched on at the very end of Chalet, but looking at rounds 1 for MercenarieZ, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of the last 8 rounds, guys, have gone the way of MercenarieZ. That's both defense and attack rounds. So really, really bodes well for MercenarieZ coming into Consulate, because they clearly have all of the momentum in the series right now. And it's about 7th Heaven. They need to be the team that wrestles that momentum back into their favor. And if they can't do it here on the defense, and if they get out to a really poor start, I think MercenarieZ will be hard to catch.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as
Maybe.
many bombs as they can.
7th Heaven re-attempting down below, so that's quite spicy. Assuming they don't drop early picks
Bomb
and
located by attackers.
play more heavily into the plant denial, I don't see it being as one-sided in favor of the attack. That's not to discount, of course, MercenarieZ efforts in the last round. Getting that opening kill was obviously quite skillful and ultimately very impactful.
Attackers have discovered the location of a
And
bomb.
of course, when you get the advantage, it's not an automatic round win. You still need to convert said advantage, and they did so quite confidently. And
10 seconds.
sure, the kick got dropped real late, but they just swarmed the site, got that final pick, and
5 seconds left. before
look really, really nice for the rest of this half. Question will be though, can they back it up, right? It's all well and good to get the first attack round on the board, but if the defense adapts and you can't follow up, then it really doesn't count for much.
Yeah, just a note, I guess, in the series, on Clubhouse, defense won the first round. On Chalet, defense won the first round. On Consulate, attack wins the first round. Neat little stat. Pika, gonna look to be aggressive here, but
the attackers bomb
doesn't find anything at that piano window. But may look to continue to hold it for the time being. No one from MercenarieZ is there. In fact, MI7 has just had enough and decided to straight up leave Consulate. Pika's going to get super aggressive here, and it will work out. He does catch Snow on the rappel. Does lose his life for it, though. 4 versus 3. Fatah almost finding the head of that player at the bottom of yellow stairs.
Yeah, some over-aggression there from 7th Heaven elsewhere as well, and it's Maker to find that pick. So despite the DC, it's a 3 versus 3. That rhymed. As Ray looks to retake yellow stairs. Surely ED doesn't tag on that little expedition above. 7th Heaven just needs to be careful here. I don't think there's any reason to be overly aggressive in the 3 versus 3. Just retain the control you have and try and push back the attack.
Oh, ED looking at the floor, but does look back up right as Hasib pushes in his sight lines. 7th Heaven in control again. ED with a nice little shoulder peek and then frags, but he misses the shots onto Maker. Still a minute and 20 seconds, so MercenarieZ don't have to be overly aggressive here, but Ray too good from those main stairs, and yeah, this is probably too much for Fatah. 7th Heaven will tie it up 1-1. Early days here on Consulate though, and I wouldn't be surprised guys, if this becomes a trend on this map where it does go back and forth. And if anything, I'd actually like to see that. You know, we've had this long series, why not let it go all the way to the end here on Consulate? So good start from both teams in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, there will be a little bit of a pause here, potentially rehost as we try and get MI7 back into the lobby. And unfortunately for 7th Heaven, that means that their momentum will be halted for a little bit. But such is life. Not much we can really do about that. Gotta say, the aggression from 7th Heaven, I was getting a little bit worried during the mid round there that they were getting a little bit antsy, trying to retake above and maybe getting a little bit too fancy. But
little graphic goes away. That says we're getting back in here for round number 3 of map number 3 as well. How about that? This is, of course, do or die. We've had a very big breather. I mean, that was like a good 7-minute rehost there. So, I mean, any sort of momentum, maybe that
Attackers need to locate
7th Heaven, we're going to wrestle away from Mercenaries. I'm not going to lie, guys. I think that's probably gone.
Attackers have located a bomb.
yeah, can't wrestle with thin air, so bit of a reset here, and maybe that's what the map needed. Spice it up a little bit. Neither team really with a significant advantage now, and the scoreline, of course, one apiece. Very, very tight, very, very close. Now, in terms of site selection, 7th Heaven did elect to go towards lobby, but as we can see, there's a lot going on down above. In fact, that's a really cheeky deployable shield inside of Con, a couple of ADS devices protecting that. They've also reinforced the bathroom walls in order to prevent that cross from the rappel, and there's a lot going on here, and that's a lot for Mercenaries on the attack to try and pick apart if they so desire.
Yeah, good call. So they're going to go for the Nomad flank watch, but everything else is actually very similar to what we saw from Mercenaries on the attack on Chalet. So I think that sort of goes back over to that question I posed earlier. Which of the earlier maps in the series do we sort of look to and probably get some sort of an answer? His Spirit is going to get the opening kill. Oh no, what? How is Snow not dead? I swear he just took a shotgun to the belly.
Maybe you just had something heavy for lunch. It bounced the bullets back. Who knows?
Do you eat a metal plate?
Maybe.
Oh, the C4 to finish him off? No!
Oh, he survives that too.
Attackers have located
Man's
a
invincible.
And he's still peeking.
Oh man, he does not care for his life at all. The man just wants to break. He wants to go
Wait,
back.
Fatah's
Wait,
planting.
whoa! Fatah's straight into lobby. This is a quick plant. It's going to catch everyone off surprise, even us. He's going to get it too. It's a retake scenario. Well, what a intriguing round we've seen already here in this third one. I mean, Mercenaries had plenty of time to plan this attack, and it's working out. Edie's going to go down. 7th Heaven caught with their pants down.
Spam those question marks in the chat. We don't know what's going on here, but it's going to be a difficult retake. That said, Spirited is hitting the diffuser, but he does fall off as they try and find these players outside. They need to clear them, but these angles, they're so long, they're so deadly.
Oh.
Surely this is untouchable.
What?
Oh, they do it
Got a
though.
quad.
It's a quad from Souffle. Absolutely insane. They retake arguably the second most difficult site in the entire damn game. How has that gone down?
I don't know. That was lightning fast, rapid from both teams. A rapid plant into a rapid retake, and Souffle with a 4K clutch with a bit of help as well from the 1VX god in Spirited. That time it was a 2VX. That's a big round loss for Mercenaries. I have to say it. They should have won that round after getting the sneaky quick plant, guys. They should not be losing from that situation onwards. They should be up 2-1 and off to a flying silent consulate. Now they're down 2-1. And 7th Heaven can capitalize. And the momentum that they, maybe lost after the rehost is back. Now it's firmly on their side, and they're going to split.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
I cannot fathom that site being retaken in such an aggressive and fast fashion and actually working there for 7th Heaven. That is very impressive, I've got to say. Of course, it's one of those scenarios where you're always weighing up, was that a 7th Heaven throw? Was that a 7th Heaven clutch? Was that a Mercenaries throw? Yada, yada, yada. I don't really care. I couldn't tell you. No one can tell you what the hell just went down in that round.
Yeah.
But that round could come back to haunt Mercenaries. Honestly, if they end up missing out on regulation by one round, I'm pinning it on round number 3. There's no way that should be a retake, but who knows? It also shouldn't have been a plant, so
That's true.
we could go around in circles all day about that one.
Maybe in the end, it just comes down to the shoulda, coulda, woulda, and it's just all about what actually happened, and that's 7th Heaven winning the round. That's all that matters now. And also, moving on to Teller's Archives here for this 4th round, 7th Heaven choosing to go split. We'll see how Mercenaries are going to play this one, as they really need to themselves wrestle back a bit of momentum that they've lost momentarily. ED looking to be aggressive. Bottom of yellow stairs. But that's just what you like to see from the defense here on 7th Heaven, especially if they start to really get in control of this match. You will probably see 7th Heaven really get into the face of Mercenaries and look to put the foot on the throat and make sure they get shut out of the game.
Good opportunity for Ray to have a big impact in this round, but he is being held from the window by MI7. Snow and Fatah now looking to repel in and apply more and more pressure on this position. Snow, he shuts him down. That's a big opener for Mercenaries, but they're getting lit up. I think that's from down below. Pika inside of Visa, looking to trade one back, but he can't quite find the kill.
Mercenaries are in this match up to their eyeballs. I mean, really, they should have won the last round. They got the opening pick here. The 2-1 scoreline does not do them justice at all right now. A 2-2 scoreline actually would be fair, I think, for both teams. So look to Mercenaries maybe to get this round here. It isn't going to be easy. ED. Oh, you got to be so careful. I mean, look, he didn't really get too overly aggressive with the peak there. Make is forced back. And there's still 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock, so no need to rush this, no need to make too many mistakes. Snow has to be careful. Obviously, very low health.
6 drones still available for Mercenaries. And they are in the hands of the support players, so expect those to be used late. Big pick from Snow. Eventually, though, Souffle will get one from 7th Heaven. They're not going down without a fight, but they only have 1 C4 and 2 members left to try and deny the plant. Maybe Souffle just needs his gun. He finds the Sib. And he's retaken above. No way. This could be winnable off the back of this play.
Oh, Fatah getting lit up. ED just sitting inside of Talers.
Oh,
just being the man to stop this push. And he does get the down onto Fatah. He's not eliminated. Diffuser, though, is down with him. 25 seconds for Snow and Maker to make something work. Maker pushing up these service stairs. Needs to hit this. Oh, Edie, for a split second, just got off of it. Hiding behind that pillar, has Souffle behind him. Maker, I mean, they're running out of time. They're going to get the frags here. Maker does get Edie in a 1 versus 3 now. Souffle, you can just hide if you really want to here. And he doesn't even do that. Gets the kills. 7th Heaven continue to pull away here on Consulate, guys. 3-1 scoreline in what is a pretty close affair in the rounds themselves.
Whew, slap and angled on the org. My word, you can do a whole lot of work with that gun. Absolutely nutty. And Souffle bringing it back from the depths. Didn't look great there for 7th Heaven, particularly on the entry as they lost control above, but Mercenaries just feed the belly of the beast. And 7th Heaven now with a 3-1 lead. Basement though, this will be the test. Keeping in mind they failed to win it on their first attempt. It was in fact, of course, Mercenaries with some really good aggression that were able to convert that round, and 7th Heaven will need to correct their wrongs like they did on their reattempt in round 2.
Defenders, protect your bombs
I mean,
from being defused by attackers.
I almost feel like it's a little bit unfair for Mercenaries right now because this is going to be difficult for them to take. I mean, I know they did it in the opening round, but if they lose this site, they're down 4-1, and I almost feel like that's just unfair. But full credit to 7th Heaven, though, of course. Like, they have to do the work late in these rounds. Souffle has just been, not even arguably, has been the MVP of the series. From Clubhouse now to Consulate. Being their best player, probably, without a doubt. Again, making big plays, clutch plays as well at that. I mean, single-handedly won one of the earlier rounds, of course, in that lobby press round in round number 3. Something we don't see too often, though, of course, the Rook. Guys, I think this might be the first time I've seen it actually for this stage.
Yeah, look, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the first time you've ever seen it in competitive. Definitely not a staple pick in competitive Siege. Plates do, of course, provide additional protection and guarantee a down if a player is not headshot on the side of the defense. Wow, I would have thought that Pika was picking Rook to bring the 2x on the defense, but he's running P90 with the 1.5. So this is pretty nutty. I don't know what his game plan is in this round, but I'm down to spectate him and see what he can get done.
But remember, it always comes down to personal preference as well. I mean, and may have an idea, obviously, as to what he's doing. He's chosen it for a reason. We'll see how or what that reason will be later. Oh. Spirited's going to be actually the one who gets the opening kill elsewhere. That's just outside yellow stairs. Maker does get ED. So nice. 1 for 1. Nothing too crazy so far in this 5th round. It almost feels like a must-win for Mercenaries.
Well,
really?
they've lost their hard breach. Sorry to butt in. They have literally lost their hard breach now, right? On a garage defense. So Mercenaries need to switch on really quickly here and go for a back push. There's literally no other option unless they want to do something crazy like filtering down yellow stairs, which probably won't work. And that's a great start. Maker does establish a foothold over towards the eastern side by taking down Souffle.
Snow does have control of the diffuser, and as you said, they are now going to push from behind. And they've got a lot of time to do so as well, and this is really going to show how good Mercenaries are. Their ability to adapt on the fly, change up the plan of attack here. Of course, as you said, the Thermite taken off the board in Fatah really early on. So the good news, because it happened so early, they were able to adjust and change their plan of attack. MY7 just actually shot Snow in the butt. Oh no.
It's taken down there by Ray. He gets aggressive over towards Dungeon, not traded back. 2 players inside of Archives for Sib leading that charge, unable to find the pick in response. It leaves it in a 3 versus 3, and 7th Heaven have a lot of utility still to work with in those smoke canisters. Pika goes huge! Oh, it's the P90! Oh, he's made it work, and now MI7's in the 1-on-3.
Yeah, and he's not going to be able to win this one. Oh, yeah, little shoulder peek. Well, actually, Spirited the shoulder peek, and then he thought, well, I know where he is now. Now I can just pre-fire spray, but MI7, a little bit too sharp there on the trigger. 10 seconds left. Ray's positioning too good, and 7th Heaven will take a resounding lead here on Consulate. 4-1 in this best-of-3 final map of the series. They are firmly in control.
Critical pick in that round from 7th Heaven onto the hard breacher, and it was always going to make it difficult for Mercenaries, and unfortunately, despite their best efforts to rotate over towards the other side of the map, they just couldn't quite get it done. In the end, 7th Heaven are now beginning to establish a pretty dominant lead, and I like the response from Mercenaries. They decide to take the tack timeout, and that's a good opportunity for them to reset and really consider their attack here. Maybe they're discussing this Amaru pick right now. That would be pretty cool. Surely they don't show it, though. I would have thought they'd 6-pick onto it, unless maybe they're just trying to force 7th Heaven to play below. Yeah. The play here might be to try and force 7th Heaven to go below to prevent the Amaru from coming up the hatch. Difficult to tell. Or maybe just... I guess they could just reinforce the hatch either way anyway. So, don't know. We'll have to see if they actually stick it.
Yeah, the main thing, though, I do want to say is the tack timeout, I think, is really good here at 4-1. Don't want to let this really get out of hand. Just a bit of a pause, bit of a breather, as you said, maybe discussing the Amaru, the strategy here with that. But on top of that, you're also just sort of slowing things down a little bit, because 7th Heaven are certainly getting out of control. So the Amaru is going to be locked in. It's going to be actually the Nomad 6-pick from Jackal. The Rook, once again, is also going to be employed by 7th Heaven. 4-1 here on Consulate. We go back over to Lobby Press, and it is going to be Mercenaries. I mean, they rushed this last time, guys. I have to suspect that they might rush it again with the Amaru. They got the Nomad for the flank. Prove me wrong.
I'm trying to predict what Snow will do in this round. The more traditional and more conservative, I mean, if you want to even consider a conservative approach, would be for the Amaru to pop up through the hatch inside of Bathroom, which has been generously opened up here by the defense. That said, there are still avenues where Snow can utilize the hook. He could take quick control of admin, maybe take quick control of CEO, so there are alternative options. It's just important that Mercenaries play off it properly.
Oh, what?
That's not a bad start, though.
Is that just like a random pre-fire?
What?
There's a second one. Okay, well, if you want Snow, it's all yours. Take the site. It's a 3 versus 5. I mean, no, look, definitely don't want to rush too ahead of steam here. They've got
just a random wallbang? There's no way.
It has to have been. I mean, I think both of them were random wallbangs, unless one was peeking at the top from 7th Heaven. I'd have to imagine, looking at the body position there of ED was probably peeking out there, so a little bit more of an inkling there. But I think the one in lobby was more of a wallbang. Oh, this could be really bad, actually. Unless Seventh Heaven have fallen off this position in admin. I think they have. Yeah, okay, they have.
Yeah, so I think ultimately the Amari won't have much of an impact. Snow does still have 3 flash grenades, which could be helpful late round. Oh, that's...
Oh, no.
That is absolutely devastating there for his Sib, unfortunately, leaving the game. But they still do have the man advantage. I mean, they've got map control as well, so they're still positioned nicely. They still clearly have the advantage and a lot of utility that they can play off.
Almost demoralizing, though, right? Just the fact that it even happens. Souffle going for a bit of a flank. An opportunity for Seventh Heaven now. It presents itself, and well, they're going to take advantage of it. Mercenaries are by no means out of this. If they can get 4-2 here on their attack on Consulate, what has, of course, just been so in favor of the defense for Seventh Heaven, maybe they can replicate that. Spirit, it just gets lit up. I have to assume that might have been... I don't actually know if that was MI7. Might have been. Would have been some weird angle. I don't think it was, though. I think it was from outside.
Well, there's a minute to go. Spirited, the only real serious anchor on side, and he is being depleted so low in HP. MI7 above finds a pick, and Fatah can commit to the plant. Spirited, no C4 in hand, needs to swing and find the pick, but he knows he's being held from above. He can get the player as he falls off the plant, and Ray drops off as well, leaving Spirited all alone. Surely Mercenaries can hold on to this post plant.
The Banshee just makes it a little bit annoying there for MI7, but Spirited didn't end up pushing up those yellow stairs. So yeah, he's got no time here. He's also got no health. 1 versus 3. Usually you would actually not back him in, but you give him a chance. But based off those circumstances, it was always going to be very difficult for Spirited. Well, it's 4-2 on the scoreboard now. Finally, Mercenaries bite back. They get around after 4 round wins in a row to Seventh Heaven. And we will switch half. Seven's go on the attack, Mercenaries on the defense. And it is going to be their final half to keep their playoff hopes alive here. They've got to get a few rounds on the board early.
Defenders sided Consulate, question mark?
Yeah, look, as I said before, Guz, and I'll repeat it again, every map is defender sided at the moment here in the APAC region. I don't know what to tell you.
So weird as well, right? Because so many of the recent nerfs, buffs, etc. have been heavily leaning into increasing the opportunities for competitive attacks to have more avenues and easier to clear utility and less utility to burn, and everything pointing towards a trend towards the attack. But for whatever reason...
I mean, have you seen Coastline recently?
True, right? Yeah, and it's not necessarily that we're still stuck in the util dump meta or anything like that. It's just the defense has found really creative and annoying ways to just
I think
attacks,
to try and maybe look into it a little bit here. And obviously, I'm no analyst, but
oh boy,
what we're seeing from the defenders is they're pushing out more, right? Like they're being more aggressive. You go look at a map like Coastline, and they're like all playing on site. They're spawn peeking. They're making it hard for the attackers to get onto the site, and I think that's probably why. As you move away from that util meta, that's probably some sort of part of it. I could be completely wrong, Guz. I'm speculating like everyone else.
No comment.
No, that's fine.
No, honestly, I think you're pretty right. It's forced the hand of the defense more recently to play super aggro, and to be honest, APAC loves that anyway. They were playing that back in the old meta. They're playing it in the current meta, and it still rings true. I mean, you look at the side of Mercenaries, like they're bringing a Warden when there's very little reason to expect a Ying to be picked, and I honestly expect Snow to just be bringing that. For 1, the shield, and 2, he can run the MPX with the 1.5, which is pretty nutty, pretty annoying to deal with if you're an attacker. So I'm excited to track his progress in this round and whether or not he can have an impact. Unfortunately, his Sib won't have an impact though. ED on the rappel finds the opener for 7th Heaven.
Yeah, very early one as well. And that's also the magnets that are not going to be thrown out throughout this round from Hasib. So kind of like a double effect there, getting rid of the player, but also the utility from Hasib is going to be hindered quite significantly for the remainder of this 7th round. As I said before, it's pretty important for Mercenaries to get off to a good start here on the defense. 5-2 scoreline is not a good look for a team that would have to fight back a long, long way. They did kind of do so on Chalet, in fairness. They did force a bit of a comeback, but it wasn't anything too crazy. It was like 2 or 3 rounds at best. Spirited getting super aggressive here from these server stairs. Ray takes a bit of damage. There's a lot of time. There's no need to rush this for 7th Heaven.
Nice nade there from Pika, but Snow responds onto Spirited.
Ooh,
Plant is going down. Is the denial here for Mercenaries? That's the question that needs to be answered. Snow's inside of Con, but he can't get the angle in towards that plant, and now needs to go big with the MPX. Pika so close. Which play will win out? Pika somehow manages to get on top. Souffle with the cherry on top to finish off that round, and what a confident, swift attack there from 7th Heaven.
Look at this angle over towards Long Desk, actually getting 2 kills from that angle in the end. Really big round from 7th Heaven. I thought maybe Snow was in a position to be able to get the pick onto Pika. Didn't happen. Actually, I think surely whiffed his shots. We didn't actually see his angle, but even I think Pika was shooting for quite a while without hitting their shots either. So 5-2, opportunity goes begging for Mercenaries. Made to pay. They are kind of staring down the barrel of defeat. It's not looking good. 5-2 is a very treacherous scoreline, and you have to think about, you know, how hard they fought on Chalet to get to Consulate, only to maybe, you know, sort of peter out a bit. It would be very disappointing. So we head to lobby press, and it feels like this is playoff life on the line here. Match point on the other side if 7th Heaven can take this site.
Of course, the winner of this match takes on Kira Esports in the next round of the lower bracket. Mercenaries bring it back. There's, again, that window of opportunity for the South Asian derby. If not, it will be, of course, the first time that 7th Heaven take on Kira. Still, though, there's still something in this matchup. I can feel it in the air. Smell it a little bit, you know. There's just, again, I love the word inkling. I'm going to use it again. It's a very small inkling that Mercenaries could pull off something special here, right? We thought they were down and out on Chalet. They proved us wrong then, and maybe they can just do it once again, do a repeat.
I mean, I will say this, and maybe there's something to it. Mercenaries were down 5-2 on Chalet on their defense going into the second half. So, look, hey, just saying, it's there, Guz. If it happens again, it happens again. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but it's there. That is, of course, a correlation between the scoreline and the situation that Mercenaries is in. They've faced it before. They dealt with it on Chalet. Now they got to deal with it on Consulate.
Pika on the sledge, running the shotgun, gets aggressive. He has a free path through Z and maybe could catch a player by surprise. In fact, he is in the site. Oh, he sees the echo, but the trigger discipline. He knows that Hasib is on his drone. The second he gets off, he misses the shot, but he hits it. Oh, that was a little bit scary. But Spirited can now go for the plant.
Oh, if he had I mean, he missed the first shot. Had he then died after that, he would have been plastered all over every sort of social platform. Patar, look, he gets this kill, but I don't know if he can get out of this position. No, he does actually. Pika does take a bit of damage as well. I mean, 3 versus 2. Not impossible, but not likely. Not with Pika's position behind Maker. Patar in a 1 versus 3. Does catch one over in Projector, and look, there's 18 seconds left. We're not expecting a miracle. Pika started it with the shotty and ends it with the shotty. It's match point, 6-2. 7th Heaven can see the light forward in the gauntlet.
I gotta say, a little bit of an interesting round. I mean, old mate Sledge literally just has a cheeky Sunday stroll in towards the site. A bit of an awkward encounter there with the Sib on the Echo. It was the first shot missed, but I'm sure he had the fright of his life when he gets off his Echo drone and sees a Sledge just staring down the barrel of his gun. Oh. As you said though, match point for 7th Heaven. 6 invitational points on the line off the back of this matchup. If you progress, you'll get at least some points. If you drop out, you will receive 0, nada. That's what these teams are, of course, fighting for.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
Yeah.
bombs.
And this is what Seventh Heaven is about to achieve. They will guarantee themselves SI points here on out, regardless of what happens in the match against Kira Esports. So, look, it's been a valiant effort from Mercenaries, guys. It's been a long marathon. They at least forced the third map, but it seems like they've ran out of steam here on Consular. This has been very one-sided.
Yeah, maybe that is the case. Maybe their mental has struggled a little bit, potentially just their overall endurance just isn't quite up to scratch. I will say that Mercenaries have had quite a bit of experience, especially in comparison to Seventh Heaven in a best-of-3 format, considering the fact that they had to play through some pretty grueling qualifiers to get into this position. A lot of BO1s, so maybe not as comparable to BO3s. That said, in the closed qualifier, Mercenaries played 1, 2, 3, 4 best-of-3s. And only dropped 3 maps in those encounters, so, you know, they have tried and tested their endurance before, but maybe this is just a different kettle of fish, right? Pressure's a lot higher, the stakes are a lot higher, and maybe it is reaching a breaking point. Of course, we're not in the team, we don't know exactly what's going down, so very speculative, but sometimes that can happen.
Is there one last twist in this tale? It would be arguably one of the best comebacks of all time if Mercenaries can pull it back from here. And having already pulled it back from a deficit on Chalet to force this map has storyline written all over it, but it also has very difficult to do written all over it. It's not going to be easy, and so far as well, I mean, to really point out, but their defense they haven't defended a single site. Not ideal when you're trying to come back here. Snow with an opening pick onto Ray. It's something, it's a lifeline. Can they capitalize?
Seventh looking to take control of the long corridor. Peak running again shotgun on Sledge. Aiding in that aggressive playstyle. He elects to try and reposition and maybe go for the meeting repel. That said, with the shotgun in hand, his range is obviously quite limited and he may well look to repel elsewhere on the likes of Con. This position definitely proving to be a choke. Seventh Heaven are struggling to get a foothold.
Well, they're going to rush in now. Spirited's going to get this plant down. Pika found 2 with a shotgun, by the way. Just saying, again, putting it to good use on the Sledge. Now pulls out the SMG-11, takes out Hasib, and this is it. MI7 in a 1v3 to keep their playoff hopes alive, but I'm sensing that their playoff has dwindled, and Pika, why not? With a shotgun to end it all. 7-2 to 7th Heaven. They move forward in the playoffs here for APAC. Unfortunately for Mercenaries, their run has come to an end.
Really strong performance from 7th Heaven. They managed to close out in map number 3. Probably went a little bit longer this series than they would have liked, but a dub is a dub nonetheless. And they can carry on that form against another South Asian opponent in Kira Esports. So they'll be under relentless pressure in their next best of 3, that's for sure.
Look, for 7th Heaven, they've knocked out one South Asian team. They're going to have to do it again if they, of course, want to extend their lower bracket run beyond just the next match. So